You're watching BBN Tonight on your official UK sports station, LEX 18. Presented by Central Bank, the official bank of UK Athletics.
Welcome back to BBN Tonight. Every week we catch up with an assistant coach for Kentucky basketball. Tonight, it's Keith's interview with Joel Justus as they talk about what brought him to hoops and the team's latest matchup. This segment presented by Bird, the official shared mobility partner of the University of Kentucky.
Well, Coach, first off, we've asked the players so many questions about their careers, and I've even asked some of the coaches, but I don't think we've had the chance to talk to you. How did you get in to the game of basketball?
My family has a big basketball, history. My grandfather was a high school coach, and I was actually in the Ohio High School Hall of Fame. I started playing basketball when I was young, and growing up in North Carolina, I always tell people it's very similar to Kentucky. It's probably the only other state in the South that has its priorities straight, where basketball is king and everybody loves basketball. So I didn't grow up. Everybody likes to always ask, did you grow up, were you Carolina or Duke? And, I was neither. Just this was my dad working at Wake Forest. I was a Wake Forest fan. And that's what I always tell people. I think I've said this for probably all 7 of my years. I grew up in Kentucky, always broke my heart, as a Wake Forest fan, just because every time Wake Forest had a good team, they ran into Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. So shed many a tears over the Wildcats as a young fella. So, but I've had a super cool life, with basketball and so many neat experiences. And I was a ball boy at the ACC tournament for, my goodness, maybe 8-9 years. Growing up, and would ride the bus to my dad's office and go watch, Wake Forest practice in the afternoons instead of doing my homework. And so I've had a very blessed life, especially with basketball.
All right, so on Wednesday night, you had a tough one because you stayed back in Lexington while the team, was on the road taking on Missouri. How difficult is that as a coach to not be able to help affect something that's going on or something that you see?
Yeah, it's obviously not ideal, and I guess I've coached for, 17 years and played college basketball for 4. I've only missed, a handful of games. And really as a coach, I missed one when I was at Elon as an assistant. We were recruiting, and I missed a game for recruiting. I missed a game. I'll tattle on myself a little bit here. I missed one game as a head coach as a high school because I'd thrown out the game before, and there was a punishment that you had to sit out the next game. So I missed that. I missed a game as a coach. That was difficult. And I had missed one for a family emergency, so really up until this past week, these games that I missed, it was, I had never really experienced it, but it's not much fun. I can tell you that. And you feel helpless, and the police weren't called for me screaming at the television. And so I guess I got out, unscathed in that regard. But, it's good to watch our kids. It's a different view, obviously, of the game. You get to see it just like the fans do. So you get excited, you get frustrated, and the range of emotions are probably the same as the rest of the Big Blue Nation.
All right, next up, Tennessee. How is this year's Volunteers team different from last year's Volunteers team?
Well, it's kind of getting into it. They have some exciting players in the backcourt that can really go and make some plays. They've got experience in the front court, with Pons, Fulkerson, some familiar faces that will all, kind of recognize their Saturday evening. So for us, they're always going to be a team that is physical, that fights you on every single possession. And really, this year, they're ranked number 1 in defense, in Kim Palm's rankings, holding teams to, under a point per possession, and we're still in the top 20 defensively. So it's really going to be a game that, we got to make some shots. We got to score the ball. Got to be ready to shoot. I think even, looking back at last game, made 9 threes. If we can, do that again, maybe make a couple more, get a couple more up, still continue to take care of the basketball. Tennessee's not going to beat themselves. That's one thing that the Coach Barnes teams are always known for is being smart, being tough, being solid. So we're going to have to come out and we're going to have to make some plays. We're going to take care of the ball. And then ultimately we're going to have to make some shots.
Either before or after the game, can we put some quarters on the backboard and see if Pons or Jackson is going to be the one to get the most off there?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I was thinking about that this just as I was watching some tape for this game. And I mean, you have very, similar builds of, he's, Pons is obviously older, more mature in terms of being in college for a couple more years. So it's going to be a great matchup. I mean, you have two, explosive athletes at kind of that small forward position. But yeah, no, I mean, you talk about excitement. I mean, you got two pretty exciting guys right there.
Coach Justus, thanks so much for your time. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Coming up next on BBN Tonight, we'll bring in Kentucky basketball legend Jack Goose Givens, the UK Sports Network analyst. We'll talk about the Cats matchup with Tennessee tomorrow.